Pasch and the Feast of Thirst Loaves was after 2 days, and the high priest and the scribes sought how they should hold him with guile and slay. But they said, Not in the feast day, lest peradventure a noise were made among the people. And when he was at Bethany, in the house of Simon leprous, and rested, a woman came that had a box of alabaster of precious ointment spikenard. And when the box of alabaster was broken, she poured it on his head. But there were some that bare it heavily within themselves, and said, Whereto is this loss of ointment made? For this ointment might have been sold for more than 300 pence, and be given to poor men. And they grudged against her. But Jesus said, Suffer ye her. What be ye heavy to her? She hath wrought a good work in me. For evermore ye shall have poor men with you, and when ye will, ye may do well to them, but ye shall not evermore have me. She did that she had. She came before to anoint my body into burying. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel shall be preached in all the world, and that this woman hath done shall be told into mind of him. And Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, went to the high priest to betray him to them. And they heard and joyed, and promised to give him money. And he sought how he should betray him covenantably. And the first day of Thirst Loaves, when they offered Pasch, the disciples said to him, Whither wilt thou that we go? Make ready to thee, that thou eat the Pasch. And he sendeth two of his disciples, and saith to them, Go ye into the city. A man bearing a gallon of water shall meet you. Pursue ye him. And whithersoever he entereth, say ye to the Lord of the house, that the master saith, Where is mine eating place, where I shall eat Pasch with my disciples? And he shall show to you a great supping place, arrayed, and there make ye ready to us. And his disciples went forth, and came into his city, and found as he had said to them, and they made ready the Pasch. When the eventide was come, he came with the 12, and when they that sat at meat and ate, when they sat at the meat and ate, Jesus said, Truly I say to you, that one of you that eateth with me shall betray me. And they began to be sorry, and to say to him, each by themselves, Whether I, which said to them, one of the 12 that putteth his hand with me in the platter. And soothly man's son goeth, as it is written of him. But woe to that man, by whom man's son shall be betrayed. It were good to him, if that man had not been born. And while they ate, Jesus took bread, and blessed and brake, and gave it to them, and said, Take ye, this is my body. When he had taken the cup, he did thankings, and gave to them, and all drank thereof. And he said to them, This is my blood of the New Testament, which shall be shed for many. Truly I say to you, for now I shall not drink of this fruit of the vine, into that day when I shall drink it new in the realm of God. When the hymn was said, they went out into the hill of Olives. And Jesus said to them, All ye shall be caused to stumble in me in this night. For it is written, I shall smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be dispersed. But after that I shall rise again. I shall go before you into Galilee. And Peter said to him, Though all shall be caused to stumble, but not I. And Jesus said to him, Truly I say to thee, that today, before that the cock in this night crow twice, thou shalt deny me. Today, before that the cock in this night crow twice, thou shalt thrice deny me. But he said more, Though it behoove that I die together with thee, I shall not forsake thee. And in like manner all said. And they came into a place whose name is Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, Sit ye here, while I pray. And he took Peter and James and John with him, and began to dread and to be distressed. And he said to them, My soul is sorrowful to death. Abide ye here, and wake ye with me. And when he was gone forth a little, he fell down on the earth and prayed, that if it might be, that the hour should pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, all things be possible to thee. Bear over from me this cup, but not that I will, but that thou wilt be done. And he came and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, Simon, sleepest? And he said to Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Mightest thou not wake with me 1 hour? Wake ye and pray ye, that ye enter not into temptation. For the spirit is ready, but the flesh is sick. And again he went and prayed, and said the same word. And he turned again, and again found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy, and they knew not what they should answer to him. And he came the third time, and said to them, Sleep ye now, and rest ye, it sufficeth. The hour is come. Lo, man's son shall be betrayed into the hands of sinful men. Rise ye, go we, lo, he that shall betray me is nigh. And yet while he spake, Judas Iscariot, one of the 12, came, and with him much people with swords and staves, sent from the high priest and the scribes and from the elder men. And his traitor had given to them a token, and said, Whomever I kiss, he it is, hold ye him, and lead ye him warily. When he came, and he came to him, and said, Anon he came to him, and said, Master, and he kissed him. And they lay hands on him, and held him. But one of the men that stood about drew out a sword, and smote the servant of the high priest, and cut off his ear. And Jesus answered and said to them, As to a thief, ye have gone out with swords and staves to take me. Day by day I was among you, and taught in the temple, and ye held not me, but that the scriptures be fulfilled. Then all his disciples forsook him, and fled. But a young man, clothed with linen cloth, on the bier, pursued him, and they held him. And he left the linen clothing, and flew naked away from them. And they led Jesus to the high priest, and all the priests and scribes and elder men came together. But Peter pursued him afar into the hall of the highest priest, and he sat with the servants, and warmed him at the fire. And the highest priest and all the council sought witnessing against Jesus to take him to death, but they found not, for many said false witnessing against him, and the witnessings were not covenable. And some rose up and bare false witnessing against him, and said, For we heard him saying, I shall undo this temple made with hands, and after the 3rd day I shall build another, not made with hands. And the witnessing of them was not covenable. And the highest priest rose up into the middle, and asked Jesus, and said, Answerest thou nothing to those things that be put against thee of these? But he was still, and answered nothing. Again the highest priest asked him, and said to him, Art thou Christ, the Son of the blessed God? And Jesus said to him, I am. And ye shall see man's Son sitting on the right half of the virtue of God, and coming to the clouds of heaven. And the high priest rent his clothes, and said, What yet desire we witnesses? Ye have heard blasphemy. What seemeth to you? And they all condemned him to be guilty of death. And some began to bespit him, and to cover his face, and to smite him with buffets, and to say to him, Declare thou. And the ministers beat him with strokes. And when Peter was in the hall beneath, one of the damsels of the highest priest came. When she had seen Peter warming him, she beheld him, and said, And thou wert with the Jesus of Nazareth. And he denied, and said, Neither I know what thou sayest. And he went without forth before the hall, and anon the cock crew. And again, when another damsel had seen him, she began to say to the men that stood about, that this is of them. And he again denied. And after a little, again they that stood nigh said to Peter, Verily thou art of them, for thou art of Galilee also. But he began to curse and to swear, For I know not this man, of whom ye say. And anon again the cock crew. And Peter bethought on the word that Jesus had said to him, Before the cock crow twice, thrice thou shalt deny me. And he began to weep.